Hey there everybody. In this video I wanted to do a quick video tutorial sort of explaining my damage dealer or DPS spreadsheet that I put together. Um, you may have seen this already. I've put it out in several different places. Like I put it out in the on Reddit, put it in several of the Discord servers, so you may already be familiar with it. I did just put it together earlier this week. You can see right here, October 21st, the spreadsheet is born. And you know, I did it because I love I love looking at sort of the data of the game, just trying to understand and get a better understanding of how the game works, like the mechanics. And one of the simplest ways to sort of get a grasp on the game is looking at damage dealers, like how much damage you can deal, and what the stats and how the stats actually make all of that work. Figuring out the damage formula is that was kind of one of the first things I wanted to figure out in the game. And you know, it took about a week or so, but thanks to some help from some friends in the Discord server, you know, shout out to Kiyohei here. We were able to nail down that damage formula, as you see right here. Okay, and figure out some of the different modifiers for some of the different types of attacks. You may notice that the damage dealers in this game have different verbiage for their damage skills. It may say deals damage to an enemy, it may say deal heavy damage or massive damage. There's a big difference between those damage modifiers. It's important to understand that you know, these modifiers definitely impact how much damage a unit can deal in the game. Alright, so heavy damage is, your massive damage is the best damage modifier you can get. Heavy damage is the next best, and then just regular damage as well. Just regular damage, as you might see. So, you know, I figured I would do a quick tutorial here, just kind of running you through, because I've made a lot of adjustments and changes to it in the last few days. So you see here, just in the last few days, I've added a lot of stuff to it. And I've worked really hard to put this together for you guys, and I want it to be a valuable resource for everybody in the game to use. I highly encourage you to use it. If you're a content creator, you are more than welcome to reference my spreadsheet. If you're doing like reviews for a different unit that's coming out in the future, feel free to use it as long as you give credit where credit is due. Okay, but yeah, I want it to be a resource for everybody, not just for me, and so I want to explain a little bit about how it's put together. So I did leave my little author's note up here. So it is just a personal tool that I'm using, but you are more than welcome to download your own copy. And in fact, if you want to do things like compare your own units in these two tabs here, which I'll go over later, you do have to actually download your own copy. So it's view only for you. If you're clicking the link, it is view only. You got to download your own copy to make edits. But yeah, so you know, you can see here that I've written out the damage formula for all the calculations you're going to see in the different LB tabs here. I've set out the rules, which, you know, defense is set to 0 for calculations because we're just trying to set a baseline so that we get a better understanding of how all these damage dealers compare to one another. Final variance is set to 1 just for ease of everything. There's not including critical hit modifiers here, not including the color striker modifiers, at least for the LB tabs here. And then, yeah, the skill modifiers, which we've already gone over. The assumptions are that you've awakened the unit to 5-star, level 90, no attack cubes, no ability C passives, and no active buffs for all the calculations that we'll see down here. I'm only including pure damage dealers, like dedicated damage dealers, not including buffers and healers that deal side damage, but you can do those yourself in the DPS compared tab. Okay? So let's go ahead and we'll start with the first 5 tabs, which is where I've laid out all the damage dealers at their different limit break levels. So LB0, okay. I have ranked them based on their average damage per turn over a 3-turn scenario. In this scenario, I'm using 2 turns of normal attack, 1 turn of attack skill, and their EX skill is added at the earliest possible turn. The cutoff for that is if the EX skill requires a specific level buff, then any buff level 3 or lower will be active turn 1 because that's the highest single buff that a unit can can do turn 1. Level 4 or higher will be active turn 2. Okay. And so at LB0, basically what you're going to see is you're going to see Hero, Mickey, and Judy here at the top, simply because they start off with a massive damage modifier skill and an EX mod, and a 1.3 EX mod, EX skill that procs pretty much every turn. And so they're just dishing out constant damage. Maleficent is right behind them. She's also dealing very good damage. Cinderella, the free unit, fantastic. Even at LB0, like, it's pretty amazing just because she can pump out consistent damage every single turn because her EX skill is very, very easy to proc. And yeah, from there on, you know, Donald Duck and Mulan are good. Carnival Goofy's kind of a surprise unit that kind of surprised me. But it's, again, because his EX skill is very easy to proc. Yeah, you see a lot of these units that don't have EX skills. They're just not able to keep up because they don't have EX skills that deal damage, or their attack stats just really low, like Nick here. Alright, poor Beast really got left behind because he has no damage dealing EX skill. Okay, you still might like Beast, however, because he can give you a little bit of SP regen, but yeah. Carnival Mickey, sort of the free AoE unit, he's pretty close to the bottom. You'll notice I haven't included any 1-star damage dealers. That is just because they are, I mean, they're worse than all these units down here. So I'm not even going to bother including them really because the resources just aren't there to make them worth it. It's very hard to limit break 1-star units, and these 1-star units really don't start getting powerful until you can get them to limit break 2 or higher. So it's just not worth it. And you can see as we move up, you know, this is looking at all units at limit break 1, all units at limit break 2, all units at limit break 3, and all units at limit break max. What you're going to notice is that things don't really change. The rankings don't really change in these units. They're all pretty much right there where they were at LB0. You know, some exceptions being like Donald Duck and Mulan get much more powerful once their AoE skills hit the 1.9 modifier at LB2 and LB3. They start becoming much more powerful. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, but this is just to give you a general breakdown. I'm gonna, of course, I'm gonna add units as we go through. So as damage dealers come out, I will add them to my spreadsheet and keep it updated for you guys in the Google Docs there. But that's pretty easy just to look at and to understand. You know, it doesn't take a whole lot to sort of understand, you know, where this comes from. You know, this is all just calculated from that damage formula that I showed you at the beginning. Okay, so all of these are just calculated using the damage formula from the game. That's how I was able to calculate all these numbers for you guys. But if you want to actually do a little bit of your own sort of research and looking at things, you can actually come in here and you can put in your own damage dealers and you can actually compare them. And so if we, for example, you see I've actually put Carnival Dale in here because I wanted to compare him because a lot of people were asking, hey, is Carnival Dale any good for the current event because he's a red striker? So I decided to pop him in here. You know, he's not in the normal spreadsheet because he's a 1-star unit, but I popped him into the DPS compare, and as we can see, he is just not good. He's just not. I mean, you look how he compares to all these other units. Cinderella just blows everybody out of the water. For a free unit, she is just amazing. Carnival Dale is just not doing it. Just not doing it. But if you wanted to actually do this yourself, let's say you wanted to look at, let's say you want to look at Donald Duck, okay? And let's say your Donald Duck is LB2, and you just want to compare him, okay? So let's do Donald Duck. And you can even just put LB2 if you want to. Alright, you can come back to the spreadsheet, find out what his attack should be. Alright, should be 1353. Yours might be different if you're using buffs. You know, if you've got passive ability seed buffs, or if or if you've got attack cubes on them, but we'll just do 1353 anyways, and it'll automatically calculate the normal attack. You then put in the skill mod, which is 1.9 because it's massive damage at LB2. That calculates that number, and then it's 1.3 for a heavy damage modifier there. Alright, so that gives you your max damage in one turn. Alright, so he's pretty potent. He can deal a hefty amount of damage in one turn at LB2. Alright, even more than Maleficent in one turn. Now, if you want to do, we're just going to do 3 turns just for ease of use. You figure out, you can decide how many turns you want to be normal attacks, how many times you want him to use his skill, how many turns his EX skill is going to be activated. Now Donald's hard to activate his EX skill, so I'm going to do 2 normal attacks, 1 skill use, and 1 EX skill. Okay, and it automatically calculates your average here, your total and your average. And so that's why Donald kind of falls off, because his EX skill is very, very hard to proc on a consistent basis. Really, you're probably only going to get it off once every 3 turns. Alright, but this gives you a way to compare Donald Duck to everybody else that you might have on your team. So you can input everybody on your team. You could even put in like Belle or something like that if you wanted to, and just sort of calculate her damage when she procs like her EX skill, or like Genie when he procs his EX skill. If you want to figure out how much damage he's going to add to your team, that's something else that you can do right there. All right, but again, you must download a copy. So you use the file, download whichever one you want. You have to download a local copy in order to edit the document. Okay, but all the formulas are already in there, so it should work perfectly fine. If you download your own copy, you can start making edits to it as you wish. All right. Now, as for the damage calculator, this kind of, this might be a little bit getting into the weeds for some of you guys, and you might not necessarily want to mess around with this. But if you want to see, if you want to see the data and you want to actually see like how, all the nitty gritty, you want to know what the range is with the variance and everything, you want to know all the different possibilities, this is your tool. All right. And I love data, so that's why I created this particular one right here. So the example I have here is Hero Mickey, and my Hero Mickey has an attack of 1242. His skill modifier is 1.9, EX is 1.3. Theoretical enemy he's going up against is 100, enemy defensive 100. Okay, and what you can do is you can change these, and the formulas are already in the cells here, already ready to go. So if I change my Hero Mickey's attack, let's change it to 1500. Okay, everything else is going to go ahead and change for you. All right, so now you're actually seeing the low roll. So that final variance, right? So final variance there is rolled between 0.9 and 1.1. So you're seeing a low roll, an average roll, and a high variance roll. Okay, of a normal attack. That's why not every attack hits with the same value, because there is a final variance at the end of the damage formula. And so this shows you your lowest possible value and highest possible value and the average value for a normal attack, plus for crit attack at normal crit, level 2, level 4, and level 5. Alright, since we have Belle out there now, critical power level is really, really important. And so I did that for all the different things. So your attack, your skill, okay, your EX skill, and if you have a striker and you're actually activating that striker weakness, then this shows you the damage that you'll get from a striker weakness. Alright, so a 1500 attack Hero Mickey, if he hits with a level 5 critical with his blue striker, say against Nick, who is weak to blue, he has the potential to hit almost 2200 22,000 damage in one hit at the highest variance. Now that's if Nick had 100 defense. If you know your enemy's defense, you can actually change this value. So let's change it to, say, like 500. Okay, and you see that changes all the values. So if maybe Nick only has maybe Nick has 500, maybe Nick has 1,000, I don't know. Like, we could try putting in 1,000. Alright, I'm not sure what Nick's defense is, because you can't actually see it. It's just all question marks when you look at it in game. But this, then these are the values you would get for your strikers, your normal attacks, your crit skills. And so I put all these cells in so that you can go in, you can put in your whole team if you want to. Obviously your team's only going to be 5 units, but if you want to just compare several different damage dealers all together, you can, or if you just want to use one cell, you can. I listed all the modifiers up here for you to see, so it's easy. Critical modifiers are here. You don't really need those because they're already in the calculations here. Same thing with the striker weakness bonus. That's just a doubling of your damage, and then you can see the full damage formula right here. But anyways, all this just to say, I want this to be a tool for everybody. I want it to be something that you guys can all use and hopefully make better informed choices about your pulls and whether or not a damage dealer is really all they've cracked up to be. So I hope this was helpful. Hopefully I explained things well enough. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I'm happy to help you out. You guys can also find me in the Discord channels or in the Reddit. Feel free to ask me any questions you guys have there. Thank you so much, and I will see you on the other side.